can try and win championships, and that's what it's all about. When you look from the outside and you watch this team, I know we're going to have a real good, solid hockey team this year.
Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host right here, Eric Wilson. New York Rangers training camp is in full gear right now, and it's really interesting, some of the names that we keep hearing over there. Brennan Othman is a name that we're going to discuss later in this week. He's been scoring a lot of goals and playing really well. But today we want to focus on Vitaly Kravtsov. He's been standing out at training camp. He and Artemi Panarin have been working together very closely to try and get ready for the upcoming season. And taking a look at these initial lines that we've seen at training camp, we're seeing the kid line still intact, which is surprising to say the least, and Kaapo Kakko not moving up to the second line just yet. Of course, we know these are just training camp lines. It's not official until the regular season rolls around. But for now, we want to take a look at these lines, talk about some of these players, and mainly focus on Vitaly Kravtsov standing out at training camp and what his potential could be in the 2022-23 season. But before we dive into all this information, Eric, how are you doing today?
Good.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Vitaly Kravtsov then. Vitaly Kravtsov has been playing on the second line. Panarin, Trocheck, Kravtsov on the right wing, which is where he's played with the Rangers. He's played in the past on the left wing as well, but they have him on the second line playing the right wing with Trocheck and Panarin. And going ahead and taking a look at the third line, it's still the kid line. Lafreniere, Hedl, and Kaapo Kakko as the right winger. So kind of interesting to see Kravtsov take over into that second line. Eric, what are your first impressions of that?
It's interesting. We've speculated a lot throughout the offseason that we would see the kid line be broken up, had Lafreniere up on the first line and Kakko down on the second. But, like you said, it is still training camp. They're testing out different things. The way that I interpret it is I feel like those lines that we had projected that I just went over, I think are kind of set in stone still a little bit. So while it's training camp and they're trying to figure out what they want to do, they're giving other players the chance to play. So like Bly up on the first line, it's definitely not going to stay like that once the season comes around. But, seeing Kravtsov on the second line and seeing his chemistry with Panarin develop, that could be something that might change Gerard Gallant's mind. So it's just, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think that is the main thing. It's the chemistry that Panarin and Kravtsov are proving to have together here. Panarin finding Kravtsov for a couple wide open chances. And, Kravtsov is delivering. Every now and then it got blocked. We read one today about Panarin finding him for a chance in the slot. But Boyko is up to the task and made the stop there. And Boyko is another player that we'll have to discuss later on because he's been making some major strides during training camp. But really talking about Kravtsov and the chemistry that he's had with Panarin, there's been multiple times so far in the camp where Panarin has talked to Kravtsov, pulled him off to the side, and given him some extra work. Told him that, there is a level of comfortability between the two, speaking the same language, but they do seem to have an interest in each other. I think Panarin has a special interest and the leadership role with Vitaly Kravtsov, taking on that mentorship role and really taking him under his wing here, so to speak, to try and help him improve and become a better player. Eric, what are your thoughts on that connection between the two of them?
It's something that I'm really happy to see. I'm sure, most of you guys might know, Panarin is my favorite player. He is an alternate captain for the team. And, when before Trouba was named captain, there was a lot of speculation, like, should Panarin be named captain? But even he himself was like, no, I can't be captain. I don't even speak English properly. How am I supposed to hype up a team? But, now he's got his little Russian friend here that they speak the same language. So we can really see what it's like to have Panarin as a leadership role properly. And, there has been controversy in the past with Kravtsov and his first stint with the Rangers. So to see him already making friends and fitting in, it's something that I'm very excited to see. And hopefully he'll just work well on the team.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, seeing Panarin really step up to the plate there is really exciting. As you mentioned, alternate captain, couldn't be the captain because of the language barrier. However, it's great to see him just kind of taking someone under his wing, being that mentor and being that leader that we all knew he could be. And so we're taking a look at some of these tweets on Twitter, and we're seeing Dryden Hunt, Jesper Fast, Colin Blackwell. Panarin is choosing to play with Kravtsov, and he's looking at him when he's on the ice, and he doesn't even think it's fair when they're going up against these, second-string teams and everything like that. Kravtsov, he has a lot to prove but the skill and the ceiling is really there. There's a lot of potential with him, and some believe that Artemi Panarin could unlock all of that potential in Vitaly Kravtsov and push him to the next level. Eric, do you think that that's the key for Vitaly Kravtsov, is playing on the same line as Artemi Panarin? And do you think that if he does play on that line with Panarin, he could really take his game to the next level and reach his potential?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's something that'll help. As we saw with like Ryan Strome, Ryan Strome was not that good of a player, but the fact that he played with Panarin helped elevate his game. And I think that's something that we can see happen with pretty much any player on this team, just being slotted next to Panarin and then also playing with Vincent Trocheck now. Just having two other great guys on your line will definitely help your game and help you break out. And just, even if he just starts off next to him, breaks out a little bit and then gets moved around, I think it's fine. But it definitely helps.
Yeah, and for Vitaly Kravtsov, he is motivated. He said some quotes in the media. He's looking to redeem himself. Quote, "I've definitely made a lot of noise in the past, so it is necessary to redeem myself a little bit," end quote. So, Eric, I want to get your thoughts on that. Vitaly Kravtsov kind of going on a redemption arc here.
Mm-hmm. I think it's something that I mentioned in like a previous video as well, that he has the most to prove out of anyone on this team right now. He had a try with the Rangers a couple years ago. It didn't work out. Had a lot of controversy surrounding his name. So when he came back, everyone's like, hold on. Like, this didn't really work out that well last time. So it's good to like know that he's aware of that situation, be like, I have to prove myself to this team and to this franchise and be the best player that I can be. So just very, like, again, just exciting news to see him in the right mindset heading into the season.
Totally. And speaking about Kaapo Kakko, we want to discuss how Vitaly Kravtsov's great training camp will affect Kaapo Kakko. So, Eric, do you think that this is kind of putting Kaapo Kakko at a major disadvantage? Kravtsov playing on the second line with Panarin clearly favoring playing with Vitaly Kravtsov. Going into the regular season, if Panarin favors Kravtsov more than Kakko, could Kakko end up getting stuck once again on the third line?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's like completely out of the picture. As I mentioned earlier, I think that it is kind of set in Gerard Gallant's mind that he wants Kakko on that second line with Lafreniere on the first. But, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, if Panarin, Kravtsov, and Trocheck are having great chemistry, keep them together. And, we've already seen what the kid line can do. So if it ends up them being stuck down on the third line again, as long as they're producing points and playing well, they might just have to like hold that one and just stay down there.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of open to the idea of keeping the kid line intact. I think that moving Lafreniere up to the first line is the way to unlock his next level and really see him improve playing with Kreider and Zibanejad. We could see a whole new Lafreniere if he plays on the first line. However, if you've got that type of chemistry with Panarin and Kravtsov could end up having a major breakout season that kind of makes you feel like, okay, well, let's just keep that third line intact. But I know that Gerard Gallant has said in the past the plan is to get Lafreniere in the top six, get Kaapo Kakko in the top six, so that we can get them to their next level, unlock that potential. However, if moving Vitaly Kravtsov into the top six unlocks that potential, that might be really interesting, and that might be something that we could get behind and favor instead.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was Gerard Gallant's plan, but you said that was his plan months ago, and things change. It kind of sucks to like think about the fact that these kids might still be stuck down there. But again, we said this a lot this offseason. All the problems that we're having are problems that I'm happy to have. It's like we have to keep really good players down on the third and fourth line because we have even better players up there. But I still think Lafreniere does make the first line, though. I think Blais definitely moves down at the start of the season. But as for Hedel and Kakko, I guess we got to wait and see. A little bit of a competition there.
Yeah, I think it's really turning into a second line competition between Kravtsov and Kakko. Yeah, so
and the competition is like heated. Kravtsov is playing good. We've said that a lot this episode, but Kakko is also playing phenomenally this training camp as well. I know during a scrimmage yesterday, Kakko scored a goal or two as well. So it's like not anything just saying like, oh, he's definitely going to take over. Kakko's done. He's just getting started.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting positional battle for that second line right wing, and I'm super excited to see it unfold. Training camp is going to keep pushing along here before the start of the regular season, which is just a few short weeks away. I'm super excited for it. I know you are as well. They're going to be playing Tampa to start the season. And
first preseason game in 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. First preseason game in 2 days. We'll be covering that right here on the channel. The amount of content that we're ramping up or putting out is going to start ramping up as we move into the preseason and regular season. So I'm super excited. One last piece of news that we'll throw at you guys in case you missed it before we move on from this video is the Rangers tweeted today that they have officially trimmed their training camp roster by 4 players: Sam Alfano, Maxim Barbashev, Jaden Grube and Bryce McConnell Barker have been returned to their respective junior teams. Real quick, Eric, I'm not sure how familiar you are with these players, but what are your initial thoughts on that?
I've heard the name Bryce McConnell Barker. Don't know much about him. The only other name I recognize is Maxim Barbashev, just because we drafted him just like a month ago.
Yeah.
But these are players we knew were gonna be cut relatively early on, so nothing too crazy right here. It's not like Brendan Othman just got cut.
Yeah.
But it's just good to see that we're figuring out what players we want to keep moving along, which players we don't, and we're just an inch closer to that opening night lineup that we've just been patiently waiting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting once that lineup gets released. And of course, we're going to cover that right here on Fireside Rangers. But let us know down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Vitaly Kravtsov versus Kaapo Kakko. Who do you think should take over on the lines, on the second line? And let us know what your thoughts are on training camp in general. And make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this episode. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. Like I said, lots of content on the way with the start of the regular season, only a few weeks away. So make sure to subscribe. We'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Rangers.
Go Rangers.
He shoots. He scores. He scores. Rangers. Rangers.